Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So today, I wanted to have a discussion about why you should respect the antagonist characters you write in a series, because it seems like with RWBY, the antagonists have not been treated the best after Volume 3, and I really wanted to go into the reasons as to why the writers should respect their antagonist more. So sit back, relax, I hope you all enjoy, and let's go ahead and get started. So, looking at the protagonist characters, they have been treated very well as of late. After the events of Volume 3, when they failed to save Beacon, the protagonist characters have been on a constant winning streak. And not only that, but they've been making it through their endeavors. But while the protagonists constantly keep winning, and they keep making it through issues that they come across and succeeding in the end, it seems like they have more respect than the antagonists do. The antagonists seem like they're not getting very much respect. Some of the antagonists are getting dragged through the mud, and it just makes them look like they're worse than they really are. And not only that, but while there have been some antagonists to be treated decently, to be treated pretty well, there are others that have certainly gotten worse treatment and have just felt worse than they used to. And that is actually a problem when it comes down to it, because when you think about it, and when you look at it, the antagonist characters shouldn't just be treated as if they're an obstacle for the protagonist to overcome and just develop from. Just like the antagonists are characters also. They have their own ideas, they have their own mindset, they have their own personalities, and they have things that they want to achieve as well. Antagonist characters need to be seen as actual characters. And not only that, but the antagonists, their point of view would be that they are the hero of their own story. Through their trials and tribulations and the issues they've even come across in their own life, they probably feel that what they are doing is right, and they feel that their point of view is not wrong, and that the protagonist, for example, is the opposing point of view. They believe that the protagonists are actually the antagonist of their own story, and it should be viewed as such. So I want to talk about the ways that the antagonists have been both respected as well as disrespected. I want to talk about the good things as well as the bad, and I'm going to go over the good and the bad that the antagonists have gone throughout the history of RWBY, and give examples why I think the writers should respect the antagonist more, as well as anybody in general that's going to write for a series, any series at all, whether it be their own creation or somebody else's, why they should respect the antagonist characters as well as respect the protagonist characters equally when it comes to writing a story. And let's go ahead and go through the history of characters. For example, let's start with Roman Torchwick. So, when looking at Roman Torchwick, he was treated very well. I think that he was actually an excellent villain. In fact, he's one of my favorites. And my reason for that is he may have been a crook, but at the very same time, while he was a crook, he was somebody that was very interesting to watch on screen. And yes, while he may not have been the most powerful character, he was still entertaining. He had some of the wittiest and best jokes that I think the series had to offer. And to me, it was always a delight to see him on screen, even though he was an antagonist. He was a very fun antagonist. I really enjoyed Roman Torchwick. Not only that, but he was also able to lead the White Fang. When you think about him leading a faction of the White Fang, and he was a human despite the fact that they hated humans, shows how cunning he was. And he did a very good job even recruiting White Fang members. I thought that was very interesting that they did that with Roman Torchwick. Not only that, but we gotta give him props, because if it wasn't for him, Neo wouldn't have been there. Haha, Neo. Lover. But that's the thing, Roman Torchwick was a great character, and even had motives to just survive. That was his important thing. It wasn't about what he had to lose, it was about what he had to gain. It was all about what would be the next big thing for him to do. What would it be for him to steal next? And I liked how he was a con man. It was a very interesting idea. And I liked that his character was based off of A Clockwork Orange. I mean, that was really cool. I thought that was an interesting idea, considering how dark that movie actually is. But I really like that. I just like his character in general. I like his whole point of view on things, and I think they treated his character very well, and I loved his dynamic with Neo. I think that they were just a great duo, and I think that Roman was a very interesting character, and I think he was respected very well. Not only that, but Mercury, he was definitely treated well, I think, considering that they stuck to the idea of what Mercury's past was with the song I'm the One, considering that we know that in I'm the One, his father would beat him. His father was his living nightmare, and that he was hated by him, and he was just abused by his own alcoholic father. And while his father did abuse him, he also taught him how to be a mercenary. And I thought that was actually really cool. But then in Volume 6, we also learned that the reason why we've never seen Mercury's semblance up to this point is because he doesn't have it anymore. Because his father's semblance is so OP that he can literally just steal someone's semblance, and unless he chooses to give it back to them, he keeps it. That is amazing. And Mercury wanted to train, to improve, to better himself. I think that this is fantastic to make up for what he lost. That is a great thing, and Mercury has been treated very well, I do believe. So you can see the respect with this character. And looking at Tyrian, Tyrian I think has potential. I do like Tyrian, and I think that considering what we've seen out of him, while there were many issues with the choreography and animation in Volume 4, I still think that the Crow and Tyrian fight was the best fight in all of Volume 4. Not only that, but seeing how Tyrian has a sadistic personality, I find that to be very amusing. I think that he is a very interesting character. I think that he has great potential for the future, and, just looking back at the fight with Crow and Tyrian, I really liked it. It showed that he had great skill. He took on Team Ranger with ease, and if it wasn't for Crow, they probably would have died, and RWBY would have been captured and sent to Salem. And while the fight did end in a stalemate, it did show that Tyrian is a very powerful character. And I really did enjoy seeing that. I did enjoy seeing at that time when veteran hunters and other characters that were more experienced than Year 1 students, for example, like Team RWBY and Team Ranger, it was great to see a fight between two very experienced hunters. I really did enjoy that, and it made me want to see more of Tyrian in the future. Now, as for Watts and Hazel, the thing that I can say about them is I like Hazel. I think he's interesting. I just think the Battle of Haven was just awful. But hopefully we'll see more of him. And Watts, there's not much I can say about him other than he seems interesting. But hopefully they'll do him well in the future as well. But now, looking at Adam. Adam was a character that I've talked about with my issues. Now, while I've never particularly been a fan of Adam, but I thought his design was cool, I liked his style, I thought he was very unique. And as time went on, after the Black trailer, and then we saw him again in Volume 2, and he was leading the faction of the White Fang in Volume 3, I thought that he was starting to become a really cool character, seeing his ideas about how he himself thought he was the hero of his own story, and how he was leading a revolution to try to help the Faunus and to bring down humanity because of how humanity's treated the Faunus. I thought it was great, and I really loved to hate Adam after what he did to Yang by amputating her arm. I really was looking forward to the direction they were going to take his character, and I thought that they really did put in a lot of effort into Adam's character, into writing him, to putting him together. I thought they did a very good job in the beginning, and I thought, man, I cannot wait to see this guy and what direction they take him in. And I personally do think that some of the best villains are the ones that they make you love to hate them. I think they are some of the best villains, but then the biggest problem came in, which was Volume 5. And while Volume 5 was a very terribly written volume, I thought in the beginning with Sienna Khan, Adam was taking an interesting route. But then, when it comes to the finale, Adam was treated terribly. I mean, Blake one-shotting him, considering we know how powerful Adam actually was? Yeah, that didn't make Adam look good at all, and respect for his character was just dropped right there. I felt that they did a terrible job with him. Even though he would have died for his own cause, it still didn't make up for the fact that he got one shot and that he became one-dimensional. It really hurt him. And while he did have the character short, which was very good, I thought for the most part, I thought it was very good. I thought they did an excellent job on it. But then when it comes to Volume 6, they didn't do Adam any favors. I mean, yes, everybody was questioning what's under the mask. What is he hiding? And then when we see it, it's great, but then the brand itself falls flat because Adam doesn't care about it, and it's more about Blake to him than anything else. So it hurts the reveal, and then we don't even get his origin story on top of that. And Miles himself even stated that he felt wrong writing a character like this that was a creepy stalker ex-boyfriend. He didn't like writing for Adam's character. And that's just not right. I don't think that that's fair at all whatsoever. And I think that they could have treated Adam better. And Atlas could be the last chance they get to do that. As I've brought up before, because of the location of the Schnee Dust Company, the logo on Adam's eye, the brand, that is Schnee Dust Company. So the problem here is there was just no respect thrown in towards his character towards the end at all. They just acted like he could be just discarded for character development, and I think that that was wrong for Adam's character, and he shouldn't have been treated as if he was nothing more than an obstacle to develop Blake and Yang. But the next character that I think started off very well that has been treated badly at certain points was Cinder. I think Cinder as an antagonist is great, but at the same time, I also do think that she has been treated bad in certain areas and at certain times. Cinder was great in volumes 1 through 3. Her plan to take down Beacon, it was excellent. Making the White Fang her army for her, and not only having them be her army, but at the same time also gaining the maiden powers to convince Adam and the White Fang to join her. At the same time, not only that, but the Grimm. Making the Grimm come to the city through the death of Penny, it was an excellent way to be able to use the Grimm as well as her own tools to take down Beacon. This was so well planned out, and I have to say, I think that Cinder showed how strong she was with the maiden powers, and then it also showed how intelligent she was and how cunning she was and devious. This was great for her character to be able to take down Beacon, to even throw down the Atlas military in Beacon. That was superb, and the way Cinder carries her character is just great. I love it. Cinder was excellent in volumes 1 through 3, and even how she was able to plan around her plans, even if something may have become a problem within those plans, she was still able to come out on top in the end, and that was excellent. But then when you get to volume 4, Cinder doesn't really get to do anything in the volume. I mean, yes, we do get to see that Cinder has insecurities, her peers make fun of her and put her down, and that's really about it. There's nothing more than that. And then that's when it starts to lead into the next problem that carries into volume 5. And that problem that carries into volume 5 is that Cinder is all about revenge. And that was a big problem that I had because her character was more than just revenge. In fact, her character was more about trying to expose Ozpin for what he really was. That was the point of her speech in Volume 3. And the big problem also that comes out of this is that when Salem is talking to Cinder, Salem tells Cinder to go and recruit Raven and the bandits so that they can use them as an army to help take down Haven. Cinder then responds by stating that why do they need to have groups in numbers whenever they can take them down with their power alone? Salem tells Cinder that she should never forget about the usefulness of others. But how does that sound familiar? Oh yes, that's right. That sounds familiar because that's exactly what Cinder did in volumes 1 through 3. That's exactly what she did with the White Fang, using them as her army to help take down Beacon. And this also contradicts what Cinder even told Mercury back in volume 2, when Mercury was impatient about the fall of Beacon and the plan that Cinder had, and Cinder told him that it's not about overpowering the enemy, it's about taking away what power they have. This completely contradicts Cinder back in volume 2, in volume 5, whenever she has this conversation with Salem. But while there was this problem, they start to shift Cinder into being more revenge bound as well, considering that she wants to get revenge on RWBY for what RWBY did to her back in volume 3. And slowly they start to make Cinder go back to her planning ways that she used to have, and then Raven, of course, made Cinder have to change her plans. But in the end, they started to slowly revert her back to who she was, which was a good thing. But it seemed as if they didn't really get Cinder's character. It's like they didn't understand her, and then when they started to make her go back to who she was towards the end of Volume 5, it's like they then started to understand Cinder again. And this carried over into Volume 6, but it feels like with many of the antagonists, considering that they have either lost within the most recent volumes or have just been treated poorly, it's like the respect for the antagonist when it comes to the writers has just dropped. And of course, with the foreshadowing of what may come down in Volume 7, considering Cinder and Neo, Watts and Tyrian, there may be hope for the antagonist yet, and hopefully the writers are starting to respect their characters more, because here's something that you have to remember when you're making a character. Whether it be protagonist or antagonist, you need to respect them. They need to be characters that you do care about in some way or form. Whether they be good or evil, that doesn't matter. They deserve equal respect because these are characters that you're planning out and what you're going to do with them. They are their own characters. They have their own personalities, their own beliefs, their own ideas, and their own personal goals to even achieve. They're all going to be different in some way or form. Some of them may have similarities, such as beliefs or ideas, or even their own personalities may have certain things that are in common with one another, but at the same time, they're going to have their differences in those ways as well. And when you create characters, you need to have plans for them. You need to care about them, whether they're a protagonist or an antagonist when you're writing these characters. And it feels like with RWBY, while the protagonist characters seem to be cared for, at the same time, it's like the antagonist in the first 3 volumes, yeah, they definitely seemed like they were important to the writers, but at this point, it seems that that's very well changed, and it seems like the respect of some of the characters just isn't there. It's like they didn't even understand some of the characters, and I think that that's a problem. And don't get me wrong, I would like to see protagonists do well. I like to see them succeed, but at the same time, the antagonists deserve some attention, some care as well, and some respect, because if you don't put in the time and effort to your antagonist like you would your protagonist characters in your story, then your protagonists are going to seem like they are better developed and just better characters in general and more enjoyable to watch. And that's not very fair to the antagonist because they deserve the same amount of attention and focus as the protagonists do. And when a creator creates characters, protagonist or antagonist, either one, the one thing is they need to respect and care about these characters because it's their brainchild, it's their creation, and you would think that they would care enough about them to focus on them, to put attention on them and develop them, try to make them excellent in any way they possibly can. And hopefully that's what can happen in RWBY Volume 7. Hopefully in Volume 7 they will work on the antagonists and make them excellent characters again. But anyways, I'll be back again on Tuesday. Let me know what you think down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. And if you did enjoy, hit the video with a like. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Share this video with your friends if you found this informative or useful. And follow me on Discord. Link is in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.